Welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a story that sits right at the perfect intersection of ancient mythology, modern marine archaeology, and an absolutely massive unsolved historical mystery. We're talking about Dwarka, a legendary city supposedly built by Lord Krishna himself, which was later entirely swallowed up by the ocean waves. Okay, let's dive into this. Did the sunken city of Dwarka truly exist as a physical place, or is it simply a powerful, enduring legend? For centuries, pretty much everyone accepted this as a profound myth. But recent discoveries, they have completely shaken up that assumption. So, we're going to examine the ancient claims, look at the actual physical evidence, and explore the massive implications this holds for early human history.
Part 1. The Legend of Dwarka, where mythology meets mystery.
To really understand this mystery, we've got to start with the ancient scriptures. According to monumental Indian texts, like the Mahabharata, Dwarka wasn't just your run-of-the-mill basic settlement. Lord Krishna established this sprawling capital on the western coast of India, and according to the lore, it was an absolute marvel of the ancient world. So the crucial point is just how unbelievably advanced and fortified this city was supposed to be. The ancient descriptions detail a place of massive wealth and incredibly strong architecture. We're talking about a highly advanced civilization with a well-planned, grid-like layout, completely surrounded by these massive protective walls right on the edge of the sea. Honestly, it sounds almost utopian, but it's that exact proximity to the water that set the stage for the tragedy that followed. Section 2. Sinking into the sea. The ocean reclaims the land. Let's move to this and see how this builds, because this wasn't described as some sudden, instant cataclysm. Ancient scriptures say the fall of Dwarka actually began after Lord Krishna departed the earth. Then came the terrifying part. The city slowly, gradually began to sink. It was as if the ocean was deliberately reclaiming the land, giving citizens this brief, terrifying window to try and escape. But eventually, the inevitable happened. The entire heavily fortified city was swallowed by the water, and the whole shebang was lost to the dark depths of time. Section 3. The Underwater Discoveries. Modern marine archaeology steps in. For literally centuries, this remained nothing more than a bedtime story. But then, modern underwater explorations kicked off along the coast of Gujarat. Now, the Arabian Sea is notorious for its harsh currents and near-zero visibility waters. It makes marine archaeology incredibly difficult. Actually, scratch that, it makes it a complete nightmare for the divers. Yet, despite all those challenges, archaeologists revealed something absolutely incredible. They found physical anomalies right where the legend said Dwarka used to be. This amazing shift from an ancient myth to tangible evidence resting on the ocean floor is exactly what makes this explainer so exciting. And this brilliantly illustrates what they found down in the depths. Divers and submersibles documented these massive stone formations and incredibly aligned patterns. They found structural remains that look unmistakably like ancient walls and building foundations. What they're looking at are settlement-like layouts that appear just way too unusually organized. It raises a genuinely shocking possibility. Could these physical structures actually be the remains of the capital described in the Mahabharata? Section 4. The Great Debate. Natural phenomenon or lost civilization. As you can imagine, this mystery has split experts right down the middle. On one side, you've got the rigorous scientific view. Researchers point out that the Arabian Sea has incredibly powerful ocean currents, and over thousands of years, those currents can naturally carve rocks into straight lines and blocky shapes. They rightly argue that without comprehensive dating and a full excavation, we really can't confirm anything. But on the flip side, historians argue vehemently that these patterns are simply too perfectly structured to be a trick of nature. They believe these are, without a doubt, man-made ruins of a lost ancient civilization. We've really got to look at both sides objectively here, recognizing that while the evidence is super compelling, the scientific burden of proof is incredibly high. So why does this debate actually matter so much? Well, it all comes down to the timeline. If the historical view is right, and these are indeed man-made ruins, some estimates suggest these underwater structures could be thousands of years old. We're talking about a timeline that is potentially much older than many of the known ancient civilizations we read about in our textbooks. It begs a massive question. If this was a human settlement, just how advanced was the society that lived here? Confirming this site could literally rewrite early human history as we know it. No exaggeration. Section 5. Between Faith and Science. The Ongoing Mystery. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is looking at how an entire city just disappears into the ocean. Geologists have proposed a few major theories. It could have been a sudden rise in sea levels following the last ice age. Maybe a massive earthquake causing a violent coastal shift, or even a long-term natural sinking of the landmass. But here's the catch. None of these scientific explanations perfectly align with the slow, gradual sinking described in those ancient texts. The puzzle pieces just don't quite fit together yet. And even with all our modern technology, the reality is that only a tiny fraction of the seabed off the coast of Dwarka has been thoroughly studied. Vast areas remain completely unexplored in the deep water. So, this is very much an open case file. It leaves massive space for new discoveries and, frankly, a lot more questions.
But we really can't look at Dwarka purely through the lens of sonar and stone. In Indian tradition, this is a deeply, deeply sacred place, recognized as one of the 7 holy pilgrimage cities. When we discuss these underwater ruins, we aren't just talking about academic history. For millions of people around the world, it's not just history, it's faith. And honestly, that's what makes this mystery so incredibly powerful. It exists right on that fragile boundary between ancient belief and modern science.
Which brings us to our final thought. Was Dwarka a real, physical, lost city that sank beneath the ocean? Or is it simply one of the greatest, most enduring legends humanity has ever told? Well, the answer still isn't totally clear, but what we do know for sure is that the mystery only deepens with every single dive. Maybe the ultimate truth about Dwarka isn't that it's just waiting to be entirely solved, but that it's challenging us to keep exploring, to keep questioning, and to remember that some of the absolute greatest secrets of our past are still out there, hidden perfectly beneath the sea. Thanks for joining me for this.
Thanks for watching Aether Crypt. Catch you in the next one. Don't forget to subscribe.